Hello, Catawba County Schools parents. Welcome back to the 2022-23 school year. We are excited to soar into this year. Speaking of soar, this is our theme for this coming year. SOAR stands for safety, ownership, attitude, and rebound. This is a message I've given to our staff, a message I've given to our students, and now a message for our parents. The first letter of SOAR is obviously S. And so today, that is the area that I would like to dwell on so parents know what type of safety their students are walking into on the first day of school. All right, so we have a philosophy of 10 points of safety in Catawba County Schools that we're emphasizing this year. Complacency is our enemy. We don't expect to have any issues, but complacency is certainly not where we want to be. You are a first responder. We are all first responders. We want to prepare. Prevention should be the focus. Threats should be taken seriously. Report threats. We operate under the state's guidance of run, hide, fight in a response model. And this is a model that we will apply in all areas, whether in the school or on the school bus. We will also participate in training. And we lastly know, number 10, that hope is not a strategy. So some points of emphasis that we are talking to our staff about this year and our students, and you'll see in the student video that it also has gone out, is see something, say something. We ask people to report. Secondarily, always keep perimeter doors and windows closed. And lastly, we want to have intentional supervision in our schools and on our school grounds, which means that we keep our eyes and ears open at all times. All right, in front of you is a PowerPoint that I want to share with you. I'm just going to hit a couple of points. Below, you'll be able to click on this and have this for your own reading, and you'll be able to read it when you have time. We're going to hit several points. Physical safety improvements that we've done in Catawba County Schools. We're going to talk about proactive safety. We're going to talk about staff and student training. We're going to talk about ongoing safety assessments. And lastly, we're going to talk about our partnership with our Sheriff's Department and how we handle school threats. Let's start with physical facility improvements. And the first thing I want to highlight here is our camera system getting into our schools. We ask all our visitors to show their ID. We have trained all our front desk people on how to handle this. And so this is now a training that is done all across 28 of our schools, and it should be consistent in all places. We are training with customer service, but at the same time, too, we want to make sure that the people who are coming into our building are supposed to be there. Physical facility improvements include security vestibules, and we have done those at all our schools. It's a two-way access to our schools. We can stop people after the first set of doors if necessary. You'll notice that we are finishing up our vestibules at Sweetwater, and we are creating vestibules at Maiden Middle School and Maiden High School with our architect, and Maiden E will be a brand new building in the upcoming years. CREC is also underway with the safety vestibule. The other thing I want to hit on is our panic alarms that we have strategically located in our buildings. Our staff is trained to where those are at. And those, when you press those, that means that it's like dialing 911, and all our emergency personnel will respond to the school immediately. And lastly, on this slide, I just want to point out, as the same tip line we've had, our anonymous tip line, it's everyone's responsibility for safety. So please use this. We teach our students to use this. Staff uses it. But we certainly want to use this if there are any safety threats in the building and out of the building. One of the ways we also treat and handle safety in Catawba County Schools is mental health. I will highlight that we are excited to have mental health counselors at all our middle school and high schools this year. And we are also all trained for 6 hours of mental health awareness from the state of North Carolina. All staff is required to take that training, and we are all now trained. The other thing I want to highlight is staff training. Other trainings our staff take place here. You can read those below. And the other area that we talk about being so important is the planning process of safety. So let's take a look at the planning process here. I'm going to hit these a little more intricately. The first one is our critical incident plan. We have this in conjunction with our sheriff's department and all of our law enforcement across our district. This is certainly used for a critical incident and something that we tweak and make more robust each year. We also have a crisis communication plan. Each of our schools have this. How we communicate with parents, how we communicate with staff and students during a critical incident. We practice these things. We also have tabletop exercises. We practice this on a table with our BLTs, communicate with staff how things are done, and we do trainings. Obviously, we still do our lockdown drills for school sites and our fire drills. We also have lesson plans that we go over with our students. Our lesson plans are grade level specific from K3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and then 9, 12. So those actually it's 7, 12 for our lesson plans for student safety and what they would do in a critical incident. We also do our lockdown videos to teach people what to do. We also have active shooter training with our sheriff's department at all of our sites. And we did implement, as I said before, a uniform security protocol that all 28 of our schools are trained and will be using. The other part of safety is you have to assess it. You have to see if it's working. We do this not only by site-based administrators and our sheriff's office. We also have periodic checks from the district office. And actually, there will also be some periodic checks from other departments in the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. It's very exciting this school year. We are adding 7 additional SROs. So we will have one in all of our high schools. We will have one in all of our middle schools. We have 7 elementary schools that have their own SRO. And then the remaining elementary schools will share one SRO, so they will split time at those sites. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how we handle safety threats. Safety threats are unfortunately an occurrence that we deal with typically through social media. So let me just talk through these a little bit. So when our district or school receives a safety threat, this is what we do. First, we notify law enforcement. Law enforcement responds to the site, and they check things out and handle the situation. They also do an investigation and protocol. Sometimes students and staff are searched. Sometimes we have to remove them from that site to another site to ensure the safety of others. And while all of this is happening, we at the district office create the communication and immediately send out to our parents as fast as we can what the threat is and what we're doing at the school. Thankfully, these threats have been false threats. However, we do know that false threats, we take those seriously, and they are also punished through our court system. So some of the threat protocol may include campus alert. That means we just shut everything down inside and we lock the doors, class continues, and we just don't go outside. A lot of times we use those for a high-speed chase that may be in the area, or a neighbor down the road is out hunting, and we see that, we shut it down and make sure everything's clear. We do have lockdowns. The lockdown is used in a critical situation. We have evacuations where I told you before, sometimes if a bomb threat is at a middle school, then we may move them to another location to ensure that our students are safe. We actually have a whole inspection thing if there is an inspection process if there is a bomb threat. We do threat assessments with individual students who unfortunately make a poor decision to cast a threat either on social media or in person or in the school. There's a whole protocol the school goes through, and then actually myself and my team work with our students and families to analyze that threat and to see what direction we're going to go to ensure the safety of all our students at that particular school site. And lastly, there's consequences for this, as I said, if there is a safety threat. Our sheriff's office, our school administrators are very good at what they do and are able to usually figure out who has made threats and give the appropriate consequence as necessary. So the other thing I want to say here is we do have some future considerations. We do want to have one-to-one school resource officers in all our buildings. We want to thank our Board of Education for their support and drive to get this done. We want to thank our all our members of our community that made this happen. So thank you all. We're also looking into a high-speed touchless security screening system. The company is called Evolve Express. We'll be demoing this at Fred T. Ford High School the third week of school. And what it is a glorified metal detector, but it scans for images. We can see images in backpacks. We can see images in on the person, and it is quick. So it will beep and show us the image if it is indeed a threat to the school. And lastly, we are looking at purchasing a safety app for all our employees, in which case that would be like carrying around a panic button, as I indicated earlier, that we have strategically through our schools. Now every staff member would have that. We are in the process of finalizing what that safety app is. And so all of our teachers and all of our staff who are on campus can play a larger role in safety because there are eyes and ears on campus. Lastly, parents, I want to thank you for your partnership. I want to thank you for being part of safety in Catawba County Schools. Safety is all of our responsibility. And so parents and students, we train our students to use our tip line. Parents, please use our tip line. And also, too, I would add that if it is a safety issue and it's emergency, dial 911. But if it's a social media threat that you just came across and it's something that you're not sure is a threat or not, I ask that if you do an anonymous tip, please put information in there so we can contact you to get more information. Also, I would encourage you to contact any of our school staff and let them know what is happening. So if any part of the community can see something and say something, it's not just for the superintendent, it's not just for the principal, not just for teachers, but it's for students, parents, and the community. If you see something, please say something. So maybe you're wondering, what do I report? Here are some great examples of what you would report to us. This is not a complete comprehensive list, but it's all the things that we have trained our folks on to report immediately so we can investigate. So that should about do it. Your PowerPoint is below. I know I went through that, but I did want to make sure that you know in the last 6 years, we've made a lot of strides to make Catawba County Schools the safest place possible for our students and staff. In closing, I'll say that we are soaring into the 22-23 school year, and I know it'll be another great year in Catawba County Schools. Should you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me at matt_stover@catawbaschools.net. And parents, I know that we will have another great year. See you soon.